뭐 어떤 팀이든지 항상 이길 수는 없으니까는요. 진 경기를 이제 발판 삼아서 이제 우리들의 약점이 뭔지 다시 한번 알게 된 것 같고요. 남은 2경기 중에 한 경기만 잡으면 플레이오프 진출이라고 알고 있어요. 그런데 마지막에서 확정시키는 것보다는 오늘 확정하고 싶습니다. 지난번 데뷔전 첫 8강전에서 프라임전 상대로 했을 때 김원영 선수가 선봉으로 나가서 승리함으로 인해서 저희가 이긴 것 같거든요. 그렇기 때문에 김원영 선수가 자신감 있게 자기가 선봉을 나가겠다고 하더라고요. 그래서 일단 선봉으로 김원영 선수를 내보냈고요. 나머지 선수는 상대마다 미리 준비해놓은 선수가 있습니다. 저희가 데뷔전 첫 경기 때 프라임전 만났던 기억이 있는데 그때처럼 오늘도 명경기가 많이 나왔으면 좋겠고요. 거기다 더해서 저희가 오늘 경기 이기고 먼저 플레이오프 가 있겠습니다. 프라임도 나머지 경기 이기시고 같이 플레이오프 올라갔으면 좋겠습니다.
저희가 되게 정말로 오랜 그 패배 끝에 첫 승을 했는데요. 그래서 저희 선수 정말 모두 너무 다 기뻐했고, 그날 들어가서 다 같이 이제 첫 승리의 기쁨을 만끽을 하고, 그리고 플레이오프가 중요하잖아요. 그렇기 때문에 플레이오프의 엄청 희망적이게 됐어요. 그날 승리를 후에. 그래서 오늘도 정말 저희 팀 선수 전원이 누구 하나 빠짐없이 정말 열심히 했기 때문에 오늘 좋은 결과 있을 거라고 생각합니다. 저희가 첫 맵이 젤레가 요새인데, 젤레가 요새는 테란이 아무래도 그래도 조금은 유리한 맵이라고 생각을 하고 있었어요. 그래서 팀 내에서 테란이 나가는 게 좋지 않을까 많이 선수들도 상의를 하고 있었는데, IEM에 이정훈 선수가 출전하기로 돼 있어서, 그게 원래 이정훈 선수가 참가를 못하는 걸로 알고 선수들도 누가 나갈까 고민하던 찰나에 이정훈 선수가 IEM을 포기하고 팀리그랑 코드 A에 전념을 하겠다고 결심을 한 순간에 본인이 자신이 다시 한번 나가겠다고 이렇게 말을 해서 이번에 다시 이정훈 선수를 믿고, 저희 팀 모두 다 이정훈 선수를 믿고 이번에 선봉으로 나가게 됐습니다. 저희가 저번 팀 리그 때는 앞서다가 이렇게 역전패를 동래구 선수한테 이렇게 다 당하면서 역전패를 당했었는데, 오늘은 저희가 동래구 선수를 잡기 위해 정말 많은 준비를 해왔어요. 그리고 물론 다른 선수들도 잘하지만 저희 팀 선수들도 다 잘하기 때문에 거기에다가 플러스로 동래구 선수를 잡을 만한 카드를 많이 준비해서 오늘은 저번처럼 그렇게 당하지는 않고 저희가 승리를 할 거라고 예상을 합니다.
Alright, welcome back guys. Again, it is the GSL Team League. It is the Jupiter League today. We are in the middle of a match between Prime and MVP. We just saw some coach interviews. Man, those MVP guys, if I had to rate a most fun team in the GSL, MVP is definitely it. Those guys are always having
Saw
fun.
them with their hijinks going on behind their coach being interviewed.
They're all really fun. They like to joke around with each other, and I think that helps a lot, in terms of keeping the team morale high in team league situations. And you guys can see right here on Dual Sight, we're going to have I suddenly forgot the name. Okay, AnyPro against Dong-Regu.
Yep, and we are going to get underway here very soon on Dual Sight. Dong-Regu just taking out Marine King. Can he take out AnyPro, or AnyPro snipe him? Let's find out here at the GSTL.
Over here on the right side of Dual Sight, we have our Zerg player. That's all the intro he's going to get, Moltrap.
He's a Zerg player. Good to know.
There you go. And over on the left side of the map, we have our Protoss player. The Protoss prepared to snipe Dong-Regu. He is.
AnyPro primary.
Saw it in the coach interview. They prepared to take out Dong-Regu, and this is the guy they used. So what does AnyPro have planned? I mean, he's obviously got a very specific build plan for this specific map. Curious to see what that is.
Yeah, I mean, they were talking about how Dong-Regu took out Prime before, and so they had specifically prepared for him. So AnyPro obviously is going into this with a build, like you said. specifically designed for him.
Yep, and so Dongrigu, you know, I mean, his job is to scout that and respond as best he possibly can. Dual Sight, I feel like, is a pretty decent map for Zerg. It's not necessarily, I don't feel like it really favors one race more than the other in that. Now, interestingly enough, I mean, AnyPro putting that pylon on the low ground, what's he going to do with that, though? Could be, I mean, you would normally think Forge expand, but the pylon's in just kind of a little bit of a strange spot.
Well, he wanted to make sure it was way clear of his own Nexus
He is
spot.
actually going to go Nexus first.
And
I can't
you're right.
believe it.
You're
Wow.
actually right. He's saving up the minerals for it.
So this is the plan they had to take out Dongrigu. All right, Nexus first.
Nexus first
Well, I'm
against
pretty sure he's not
Gas
expecting that.
Pool. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle to make sure he has cannons up in time. He's going to need to get that Forge down lickety split. There goes the Forge.
Yeah.
And as soon as that Forge completes, he's going to need to build at least one cannon.
This is going to be
Depending on
really
how many
interesting.
Zerglings Dongrigu makes. Now, Dongrigu has an Overlord flying in. He's going to be able to see that front there
Yeah.
pretty quickly and be able to respond to it and be like, oh, hey, he didn't make any defense yet.
Well, it's kind of interesting that Dongrigu hasn't decided to do any sort of drone scouting just yet. Maybe that's something that they've noticed. I haven't really noticed that he hasn't drone scouted too much, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that in the future because he certainly didn't drone scout this game, and so this Nexus first is going to go off basically without a hitch. I mean,
Yeah.
the Overlord does see it now, and he's going to send down his Lings right away, but cannons should be up in time. AnyPro should be just fine after this.
Yeah, and he's actually not even going to try and put pressure on with those 4 Zerglings. He's
Yep.
sending them off in very different directions to try and just take control of the map, check for any pylons around, try and track down that probe, make sure he kills that as fast as possible. Does not want to probe anywhere out on the map.
Yep, and he does find it. Probe's going to get in, try to see something. Is it going to see anything? Actually, it's probably going to see pretty much everything. Nice job keeping that probe off of the creep, too. That's going to keep it alive for just that much longer.
That's true.
It's going to help quite a bit. So he'll
And-
basically see that there's not a whole lot to see right now.
Yep. Spots the spawning pool whirring. And AnyPro now has 2 cannons up in really nice placements. Good pylon placement. He's got a really, really beautiful front door, actually.
Yeah. So this is really interesting. You normally don't see a lot of Protoss players going Nexus first, especially on a smaller map like Dual Sight. Very brave move by AnyPro, but it's working out. And where's he going to go from here? A lot of Protoss players like to go for Stargate after this. Putting a pylon down, deciding to change his mind, I guess.
Well, I think that pylon would have made a complete wall, so his probes
Yeah.
couldn't even get to the minerals. So.
I think so too.
And here comes those Zerglings. They're going to find that there is a tight seal.
They could probably squeeze between the Nexus and the cannon.
They could, yes, but
Yeah.
then they'd be.
He might have even just been
Subjecting
using that
himself
pylon
to-
to kind of test to see if that's all he needed to wall it off in an emergency
Oh, that's
or
true.
something.
That's true.
It's possible. You don't lose too much by doing that.
And look at this.
So-
Dongregu's decided to respond to this by getting a 3rd hatchery very quickly.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, if your opponent's
Droning
going
up.
so macro heavy, you might as well take a 3rd yourself.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the situation.
I mean, when you get that Forge and cannons are immobile things, you know? Cannons can't move, unlike the Alpha.
You know, I was going to say, yeah, did you know they were supposed to be able to move? But they can't now.
Yeah, so
No phase cannons.
so that means that AnyPro can't move out of his base for a long time.
Yeah.
And so you might as well just take that 3rd and get tons of drones, which is exactly what he's doing. I like the Evo chamber as well in case
Did-
of fast Void Rays or anything.
Now, did Dongrigu just see the Robo? I'm kind of curious.
Ooh, he
So where's the Robo?
does not know about the
Doesn't
Robo.
know about it. All right. He's also playing very safe right now. He got that Evo chamber. Wants to make sure that he's got the ability to brew some Spore Crawlers, you know, for DTs and also for air, you know, Void Ray, obviously.
Oh. Zerglings were very close to seeing that Robo, but not
Yeah.
quite. Finished kind of a funny spot.
Yeah, Dongrigu has to be getting a little bit nervous at this point because he just has no idea what AnyPro is doing, like, at all,
Yeah.
other than making a lot of probes.
Well, and now he's making a lot of gateways.
It's going to be fast Colossi, too. He just put down the Robo Bay.
Nice.
Yep, so it's going to be a big Gateway Colossus push off of 2 bases, it looks like. And if Dongrigu isn't prepared for the Colossi, it could do a lot of damage. He's getting his lair right now. But, you know, is he going to get that Spire right away? because there are going to be a couple Colossi out pretty quick for any pro here.
That's true. And he's doing a really good job, by the way, of keeping track with these Zerglings of the front door
Yeah.
of any pro, making sure he sees if he's going to move out. He actually lost his Overlord, though, so I'm a little surprised he hasn't made maybe a preemptive Spore just in case. I mean, he has no idea what kind of tech is going on. He doesn't know if there's going to be Phoenixes coming out in a moment or anything like that.
And the Observer is going to show any pro everything he wants to know, basically. Now, if we look at the supplies at the moment, it is 91 to 68. Dongregoo is quite a bit ahead. But, you know, that's just kind of how it goes. Any pro is actually making a ton of gateways. Oh, and there's a Spire for Dongregoo. Okay, so if he makes Corruptors right away, he's going to be just fine. But that's going to be a lot of gateway units to contend with at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to move out with just a single Colossus. He might wait for more units. He doesn't have... Well, he's got a decent amount of sentries, actually. Another round of Warpins could give him a substantial ground army.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yep.
And
The
he's
inland
warping in more Stalkers.
So, right now, I mean, the thing is that Dongregoo is going to have a pretty hard time with this army at the moment. All he has is Zerglings, no Roaches. His Spire's not done yet. This is a really nice timing from any pro right now, right after that first Colossus came out. And Dongregoo could be in danger of losing his third here.
Yep, desperately trying to morph some Spine Crawlers. He's building a ton of Zerglings, but I don't think Zerglings are going to do anything against this army that any pro has.
Oh, he does get the Pylon and the Probe in the back. That's going to help quite a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be really nice. Now he knows exactly what he needs to deal with. But yeah, I think he's going to lose his third. Already pulling the drones away. With the way those Colossi and Stalkers are kind of wedged back against the cliff, he can't really get a very good surround on it.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to force field that off, too.
Oh, catches the Queen.
Yep.
Make sure it can't get away. And yeah, he's just going to have to sacrifice that base, fall back. Yeah, he had that Spire up a little bit too late to deal with that.
Yep. And he's going to try to do a Zergling run by here, and he's going to catch some units from any pro way out of position here. That's going to help quite a bit. Some nice force fields preventing the Lynx from getting in there against the Stalkers, but that is still so many Lings for Dongregoo. Looks like he's going to try to play it safe, though. Content with just having any pro fall back to his base for now.
This is really interesting. Any pro just made a single Colossus.
Yeah.
A single Colossus, and that's it. He's just going with all gateway units now. He's not getting Thermal Lance or anything like that, so he hasn't invested a ton into this Colossus thing, but he's forced the Spire. Well, not forced the Spire. He would have made the Spire anyway, but he has forced 8 Corruptors.
Yeah.
Which is a little overkill, just a little, but a little bit overkill for one Colossus.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Dongregoo is continuing to make Corruptors, but there's a different plan for any pro. He's going to be switching into TIE Templar now. Maybe DTs, but he's going to be able to get the Blink upgrade and all that good stuff.
He's actually going up to 11 Corruptors.
Wow, yeah, really going
Which
overkill with the
is
Corruptors.
really overkill because he's expecting like a second Colossus to be coming out to join the army. And when it doesn't, he's going to kill that one Colossus in about 10 seconds, or not 10 seconds, that's actually a long time. He's going to kill it in a few seconds, and then he's going to have 24 supply, 22, 24 supply worth of units not doing anything. Here he comes in with some Zerglings, though, trying to deny this third.
He might be able to deny it, too. There is a Colossus in the rest of the army there, so he's going to have to leave it alone. And that's the thing, is that unless Dongregoo goes for like a really fast Hive or something and turns them into Broodlords, yeah, he's not going to get much use out of those Corruptors.
Yeah, he's going to... They're going to be pretty much useless after that initial part of the fight.
Yep.
They can, of course, use the Corruption ability, which gives 20% increased damage on the units they corrupt, but not terribly significant.
Yeah, I think any pro might just decide to push once Blink finishes. Just warp in a bunch of Stalkers and go for it. His army is going to do quite well against what Dongregoo has. Fungals and going to be terribly useful.
Actually, and speaking of Fungals, is he going to get some off? Nice Fungal.
Find out the Corruptors are going to take out the Colossi very, very quickly, but after that, it's only Lings. All the Zealots are actually stuck in the middle. That is not going to help out any pro one bit, but it looks like it's going to be enough anyway.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
if he'd had a couple more Fungals in that army instead of so many Corruptors, he would have won that battle, and instead he's getting chased back up to his third, and he's going to have to withdraw.
Yeah, I think he was pretty surprised to only see, just a couple or just one Colossus in that army. And now AnyPro has had time to get some Templar out. You know, I don't know if he's going to use him for Archons right away. Looks like he's just kind of hanging out with him. He also has a Warp Prism on the field as well. And right away, Dongregu going for Hive, knowing that he needs to use those Corruptors for something else.
Yeah, that's really smart. He's like, all right, well, I need to use these Corruptors. I might as well get it, because then Broodlords are going to be very easy to get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, AnyPro is still down in supply by about 30 right now, but he's done a good job of kind of outsmarting Dongregu so far in this game. He's got that Warp Prism moving out across the field. Warp Prism Zealot Warpins at bases is so good.
Yep. And he's actually
trying to do that.
And he's actually sending a bunch of Zealots up here to the top left gold base. It's brand new as well.
Oh.
But the rest of the army is going to get caught. No, nice force fields blocking the Zerglings from getting too
that's
close.
A lot of Lings, though. He's going to lose a decent amount of units. He's going to lose all these units.
Yeah, he's going to lose everything.
But up at the gold base of Dongregu in the upper left, the Zealots have taken it out.
Yeah, but if he could trade the gold for AnyPro's third, then that's a good trade. Tons of Infested Terrans going down, and Banelings as well. Speaking of overkill.
Yeah, some nice DPS there from the Infested Terrans at Nexus. Is almost certainly going to go down. More Zealots getting warped in. This is starting to get to be a pretty exciting game. Zealots are going to be able to take out the Hatchery at the third, too.
And he's going to take out the spawning pool in the main with
nice move.
With that Warp Prism. And actually, I see now the Infested Terrans were left to finish off that Nexus so he could send his army back to deal with these attacks.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, Dongregu still has 71 drones. He's done a very good job of keeping them alive, though. So he can still just put down those hatcheries again and keep mining once he cleans this up, if he ever cleans it up. There he goes.
Yep. So the supply didn't look any better for AnyPro after that. He's almost 100 supply down right now, actually.
Oh, goodness.
Things are not working out too well for him. Dongregu retaking his third and the gold again. And, I mean, you got to hand it to Dongregu. He handled that really, really well, getting to use the Infested Terrans rather than his actual supply costing units.
Here's part of it is, get this, he's got +2 claws on his Zerglings. Oh, nice! Storm killing a lot of Zerglings.
Yeah, but is it going to be
Wow,
enough,
it's
though?
gonna be
I
enough.
don't know.
Everything's damaged. Infested Terrans going down might seal the deal. Not to mention, he keeps bringing those Corruptors along to cast Corruption on things.
Yep,
What I was
barely
going to
winning
say,
that fight.
and part of why he won that fight is those Zerglings are +2 weapons. They're going to have +3 before too long, and there are no armor upgrades for those Zealots at all. So once the Zerglings actually close with the Zealots, they're going to just kill them so quickly. Normally you'd think the Zealots are going to do better, but because the Zerglings just get so many hits in, they're en masse, the Zealots are doing overkill.
It's Broodlord Neuroparasite time.
Oh, yes.
Yep. This is what we see Dongregu do so often in late game. Heavy Infestor with Broodlords. And Infestor Broodlord can be extremely good. Looks like AnyPro might lose that Warp Prism. More Zealot harassment. Pretty cost-efficient way to keep your opponent on his toes throughout the game.
There we go. Infested Terrans are going to polish off those Zealots.
Yep.
Infested Terrans use the ranged upgrade, so they don't have any weapons upgrades, though.
Yeah.
But
well, here we go. The Broodlords are getting pretty close. And what does AnyPro have to defend against this? Not a whole lot right now. Just some Templars, a couple Zealots, and an Archon.
Yeah, it looks like he has a few Templar. If he can get some really nice storms off, maybe one storm catches a few of the Broodlords.
Yeah, the Broodlords
But he's
just do
forced
so
to fall
much
back.
damage. Yeah, they have a lot of hit points too. Things are not looking good.
There's
There it
the
is.
GG. Nothing.
Yeah. Hard to snipe that guy, isn't it?
Nothing that he could do about the Broodlords, and he knew it.
It's like I was supposed to be the sniper.
You know, that was a clever strategy. I gotta say, I like the idea of going for the one Colossus and then stopping. It really was effective. He caught him with a dozen Corruptors that just didn't do any good. And those Corruptors ended up winning the game at the end, of course, when they became Broodlords. But he really had a moment where he had a more effective army because of that. Unfortunately, there was just too much fungal.
Well, it's always good to get your opponent to waste resources on things they don't need.
Yeah.
At the same time, because of his quick tech switch to Templar then after the Colossi, you know, he had almost wasted a lot of resources only getting one Colossi. So, you know, it was an interesting idea, but you know, I feel like it didn't really give him a big advantage in that game. Obviously, he's very upset about that loss. You know, he was the guy they were counting on taking out Don Regu. Now they've got to be like, all right, well, now what? You know, we've lost Marine King, we've lost Any Pro.
Yeah.
I think it's time for Hongen.
I would put in Hongen as well, I think. You still don't want to send in Optimus just yet.
Yep.
You want to try and take Dong Regu out first because his ZVT is just so good. And his Protoss is touch and go.
You don't really want to send Terrans against him, though. You're right with that. You know, you say that, though, and that kind of makes me think about Maka. He's got some interesting ideas about some new stuff in TVZ, but as far as like sending out someone they're confident to get a win from, I don't think he would be a good choice. But we can't count him out completely.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
he is
unless
still
he
there,
has some kind of special all-in prepared for Dong Regu or something like that.
I don't know. He had some special all-ins prepared for his last Code A match. Which
Yes,
is the
right.
TVZ, so you never
That's
know.
right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, there's a lot of other players on the bench that might have some sort of special strategy prepared like that
Yeah.
might be an all-in that's a 50-50 win even against a better player, like, you know, a player like a Creator or like Maka, Maru. Any of those might be able to pull something out. Let's find out who they're going to pick.
And I'm not sure who that is, actually.
Is
it
that
going to be-
Maru? I'm not sure who that is either.
I don't
We're going
know.
to find out in just a moment.
He could be anyone. Well, you wouldn't be Marine King or Any Pro, but
Well,
he
no.
could be anyone besides them. Is Any Pro still in there?
Could be me.
He's like, I
Yeah,
need
Any
this,
Pro's still in
excuse
there.
me.
He's like,
Thanks.
hey man, give me your headphones.
Wow. He really took that loss hard, didn't he? Man.
Yeah.
It's like, these are the headphones I will use to take down Dong Regu. But you know what, Moletrap? Dong Regu's got his own headphones. They've got a couple more wins underneath their headphone
Yep,
belts.
he's got a notch on his headphones, a couple notches on his headphones, and this
Is that
player
Bung Bung?
is
It is Bung Bung.
Bung
Okay,
Bung,
thought it might
okay.
be him. Yeah. Some of the Prime players I don't quite know him by looking at him yet, but that is Bung Bung Prime. He's been competing in a lot of non-GSL online events lately. He's got a pretty good record in the GSL at the moment, 5-3. Team League so far, he is 3-2.
trying to deal with the twisted wire of his headphones here.
It's like, Any Pro,
Any
what
Pro
did
was-
you do to this
Any
thing?
Pro was so distraught, he got his headphones in a twist.
I guess so. Now he's all set. There we go.
There we go.
He plays with that like protector thing on his keyboard. That's interesting. I can't play like that. I've tried to use those, you know, plastic things you put on top of the keyboards. Feels too weird, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle that. By the way, just a little bit of a reminder, we were talking about the getting into the playoffs earlier. Actually, hold that thought. We're going to take a look at the players here, I believe.
We're gonna find
There
out
they
what
are.
map it is. And what map is it? It is
Metalopolis.
All right. Very, very good map. When I mentioned earlier that I thought ZVZ was Dong Regu's worst matchup and they should send out Bung Bung, I meant it. They decided that Any Pro could take him out, but I think Bung Bung is the guy who has the best chance on the entire team to take out Dong Regu. I really do believe that. ZVZ is such a dynamic game that it can change, you know, within milliseconds. You know, the balance can swing either way really, really quickly.
Yeah.
That makes it much easier for maybe a less skilled player to take out a more skilled player. Gonna have to see who comes out on top. ZVZ, Bung Bung versus Dong Regu here at the GSTL.